Bonsoir, beloved sinners and velvet-blooded listeners. You've tuned your dial to the Adavilios Archives Radio, where shadows speak in sonatas, and the truth is best served, laced in lace. Before tonight's tale takes the stage, a word from our esteemed sponsor, a name whispered from skyports to distant shores, the Clawthorne Postal Company. Whether it's forbidden letters, velvet-wrapped packages, or words meant for ears long buried, Lady Sybil Clawthorne's winged fleet will see it delivered. Across cursed cliffs, through war-torn skies, even across the bladed seas, if it has a name and a destination, the Clawthorne couriers will find it. Allegations of insurrection? Rumors, darling. And Lady Clawthorne would like to remind you, no rebellion has ever been delivered by post. And now, sharpen your stilettos and uncork the poison. Tonight we descend into silk, shadows, and sweet deceit. A senator, a scandal, and a duet of death. This is the first act of The Velvet Hunter. Let the curtains rise and let the bodies fall where they may. Remember to spill poison on the fingers too, darling. It'll make our tragic senator's demise much more believable. It's important that we sell the story that the poor fool struggled to find the courage to end his life. There he went again, taking his time with a job that was already finished. Erica Bastos always found her master's flair, for the dramatic was too eccentric for her taste. Their target, a senator from the Elysian Republic, was already dead. He was already poisoned. Surely leaving the bottle in his hand would have been enough. And yet, Luscious Ambrosia, the famed sinister swan, was here spending well over an hour staging their target's death. I know, Master, I know. Erica groaned and rolled her eyes. But our target is dead. No one knows we're here. No one will know we're here. Shouldn't we be done with this? She was putting the finishing touches on the body, a bottle of spent poison in his hands, extract of Ayaka bells, a common enough substance that made it easy to believe a senator got his hands on it. Meanwhile, Lucius was taking his time and studying the scene with the same focus as a sculptor circling their clay. Ah, my dear Venomette, you forget yourself. Lucius tilted a picture frame and tossed a few wrinkled papers with poorly written notes around. We've already fulfilled our obligations to the Donna del Velo, but we are far from finished here. An artist is not satisfied with their work just because their client is. We, and only we, know when we are finished with our canvas. Erica tried to suppress a whine. She failed. I just don't see why we need to put so much effort into this. He's dead. We used the poison. He's holding the poison. That should be it. Shouldn't it? Lucius couldn't help but to chuckle, ever so lightly at his pupil's frustration. I've failed you as a mentor, it seems. For all my teachings, it seems you've yet to master an assassin's most valuable tool. Erica tilted her head. And what's that? Patience. Lucius finished his work by laying a few threatening messages on a nearby desk in the senator's study. You're right. What we've done is enough to convince the common rabble that this was a suicide. But a sharper mind, a studious eye, would most certainly find many gaps as to why a senator suddenly fell dead by their own hands, at least one without a public scandal or questionable motives. It is why I enjoy these targets. They are a blank canvas that I fill with the truth. My truth. Letters to a lover that doesn't exist. Threats to point a finger in the direction I choose. He showed her one of the letters he'd tossed on the desk. It was a threat to comply with policies that Lucius, knew the senator was against in regards to the treatment of slaves in the Republic, accompanied by threats to expose secrets about him that didn't exist. He'd even forged the signature of another council member. Erica was surprised to see he'd paid this much attention to detail. I still don't understand. Why is this important? You could get away with a lot less, and we've left very little behind to suggest our involvement. Then this will be your next lesson, it seems. Lucius tossed the letter back on the floor. Like you said, we've left very little evidence of ourselves, but an assassin who believes all his tracks are covered is a fool. I assure you, the perfect murder is anything but. There will always be something, a witness, a misplaced step, a trail to follow. And if we are to cover our tracks, then we must know our enemy well. When these letters are found, there will be questionings, suspects to line up, and interrogations to complete. There will be trails to follow, but it will never be ours. And the only way to ensure it stays that way is to ensure the crumbs they chase are the ones we lay, not the ones we leave behind. Both Lucius and Erica took a step back while Lucius admired their work. Like an artist, a story few would question, and fewer still will ever doubt. Luscious was proud. Meanwhile, Erica was wrapping her head around the lesson that Luscious was giving her. Regardless of whether she agreed with him or not, she still found value in his words. And as he described the bigger picture, she could see it more clearly now. He was right. The poison alone just meant he was dead. The broken notes, the threatening letters, they were a red herring. And to lay a proper trail to the wrong places, they would need to know what their right place was. Luscious certainly had his eccentric ways, but Erica couldn't deny that there was wisdom behind the madness. With one last deep sigh of pride, Lucius placed a gentle manicured hand on his apprentice's shoulder and smiled. Always remember, in the Velvet Opera, we are the instruments of the Donna's melody, and it is us who choose what notes to play, never the audience. Be sure to remember this well as you take on your first target on your own. Now that caught Erica by surprise. Huh? Wait, what do you mean on my own? Lucius didn't respond. He raised his hand and a finger to his wine-dark lips. Erica immediately knew to remain silent, quickly shifting from bored student to sharp killer. Footsteps. Someone approaches. Later, my Venomette, Lucius whispered. Our verse has been played. It is time to pull the curtains. Erica didn't make a comment or complained. That was the cue, and she knew it. It was time to leave. Without a second thought, the two of them stepped through the window and vanished into the night, just as quietly as they'd entered. A few days following their mission, the papers had already flooded the streets of Elysia with the scandal. Senator's suicide tied to slave policy threats and internal power struggle, read the headline. Luscious was delighted to see they'd taken his bait reading the headlines, not as a scandal, but as a review of his latest performance. He paid attention to the news whenever his schemes worked the way he intended them to, which, as far as Erica could tell, was very frequent. Today he was reading through the news article while draped across a velvet chase. It had to be on purpose. Whenever Luscious did anything, he did so in a way that looked like he was posing for a still life. Meanwhile, there she was, still trying to tighten the corset of her dress-to-be and struggling to pull it to the point Luscious demanded. She'd already been briefed on her next target, the one she would hunt on her own. Now she prepared for the mission, a masquerade ball. This is bloody ridiculous, she muttered, taking a deep breath and pulling again. I'm not going to fit in a smaller frame just because you ask me to. Lucius didn't take his eyes off of the paper, but still he responded, Am I to believe that the pupil I trained is surrendering to mere garments? A melodist of the velvet opera, be they soprano, baritone, or bel canto, must always be able to adapt to their circumstances. Any half-wit with thumbs can wield a blade. Erica rolled her eyes and finished for him. Only a true melodist can make it sing. Yes, I know. A mantra she'd heard over 100 times by now. It appears that not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, then. Luscious put down the papers and walked over to her. The man's steps were surprisingly silent for someone wearing heels. He stepped past the lacquered screen to where she was struggling. She was still half-dressed, but she wasn't startled. He'd already seen enough of her, and she knew he had no interest in her, a truth that sometimes bothered her behind closed doors. He grabbed the lacy strings of her corset gently, wrapping them around his elegant fingers. I understand your frustration, my venomette. You want something more subtle, simple. Then Lucius pulled on the strings fast and hard, the corset tightening around Erica's waist tighter than she'd ever been hugged, forcing out an uncomfortable moan. But you are something more than a hired blade. You're a melodist. And we are more than just killers. We're artists, performers. The shadows are far from the only tool in our arsenal, and the one we least rely on. Luscious secured the corset in place. Any tool that vanishes at the flicker of a candle should never be considered as reliable. It was hard for Erica to truly think of herself as anything other than just a killer. Up to this point, any mission she went on with Lucius, she was only an observer, hiding in said shadows. Luscious was always the charmer, the intrigue. Erica envied his abilities to enchant, man, woman, or otherwise. None resisted his charms. Now she had to trust in teachings she'd only ever put into practice on the streets, and never with full confidence. She knew the steps, the pirouettes, the wrist flickers and winks. It simply never came as easily to her the way it did to him. She was convinced that he could charm the Velas out of an apostle's pockets if he wanted to. She wasn't so sure she could do the same. Regardless, there was no going back now. Instead, she concentrated on what she could know. The mission. I understand, Master. Tell me more about the target. Luscious was pleased. He expected more resistance from her. Not that she wasn't a committed student, but Erica always seemed to trust her blade more than her charm. Luscious knew she had what it takes, otherwise he wouldn't train her at all. Focusing your mind on what is, rather than what could be, I see. Good. Then let us talk about practical matters. Your target is a minor noble of House Rosilva by the name of Don Almiro. The Donna has composed her next piece, and we are to be her instruments in this act. Lucius tossed a vela at her. The gold coin bore the 4 rings on the back of the apostles, and on the front, the face of a rather handsome man. The target. His eyes were soft and his jaw was sharp. He had the kind of smile one wears to be polite, not joyous. Still, he was handsome enough that it undermined her confidence even more. This is who I have to charm? By the Donna's veil, I'll be lucky if I even get his attention, let alone convince him to fuck me. Luscious strode towards her swiftly and silently. He grabbed her face by the chin and tilted her head up to meet his eyes. Even displeasure looked graceful on him, but it made her stomach twist. Language, Venomette. Vulgarity is for the alley rats and trough feeders. Your lack of confidence is no excuse to disregard your manners. She didn't have words. Even now, even here, he might not have meant it, but Lucius just had a lure honed to such a point that even if he was upset, this close to him, it was tempting to just reach up and taste his lips. Even his voice carried such a velvet, soft caress to her ears that his scolding felt like a melody saved only for her. How in the mire was she expected to imitate that? Yes, master. Erica hated that her words left her almost like a plead. She wasn't attracted to him, so to speak, but damn if the man wasn't like a hypnotizing snake. Still, he seemed calm now. She wouldn't forget to stay away from profanity. Now, I understand your concern, but remember, the appearance of your target is irrelevant. You are the one that possesses the skills. Allure has only so much to do with the skin, darling. It's a game of cat and mouse. All you have to do is make sure you're being chased. Men, women, monsters. It's all about the curiosity, the chase. There wasn't a need for him to help her get dressed, but he made a show of it, every touch a demonstration. After helping her tighten the corset, he made sure to help her finish lacing her dress, smoothing the fabric and adjusting the fit to crease any wrinkles. Yet as he did, he kept talking to her. His touch was soft on her body, an invitation to a dance without words. She could feel his voice in her ear, and it felt like something that was hers, and only her. She resisted the urge to quiver and twitch. Damn him, he was good. The interest. Hold on to it. Give them a reason to chase after you. If it's not your looks, it'll be your accent. If not your accent, then your stare, your hair, your stories, the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, the taste you leave behind, even the scent you choose to give. You hold the cards. All you need to do is understand what will pull them towards you. He stepped away, almost as if part of the lesson, and she almost tried to pull him back. She reminded herself that this was a lesson. He was only showing her how to get it done, right? The fact that the question lingered made it clear that his techniques worked, and she knew those techniques well. Luscious returned with a set of jewelry to match her lavender dress, a silver necklace with matching earrings, tastefully crafted and fitted with emerald gems. This time he went behind her to fit the necklace around her, and still she flinched. Only she wasn't sure if it was out of defense or restraint. And once you're sure the rats are chasing you, then you turn, pounce, and strike. Never chase your prey, my venomette. Only the desperate, starving beasts abandon caution and planning for results. Luscious finished by handing her a Gatto mask. The mask was beautiful, crafted of a fine silver filigree. The delicate metalwork traced elegant feline contours, high-arched brows, a pointed nose bridge, and subtly upturned edges that hinted at a knowing smirk. Here, Lucius purred softly. Should you ever need a reminder of the role you play, be sure to find the nearest reflection and remind yourself that no matter where you are, no matter who you chase or chases you, you are the hunter, never the hunted. Not as long as you are under my wings. Erica took the beautiful mask and put it on. It reminded her of the mask she wore when she was an initiate for the opera, and the mask she would wear on ceremonies. And yet this one felt all her own, as if Luscious had it tailor-made only for her. She wasn't surprised if this was true. Regardless, when she put it on, she could feel the difference. When she turned to the mirror, she could see it. Perhaps she didn't believe it herself, that she would be the seductress that Lucius had trained her to be. But she didn't have to. Someone else would. For the time being, that would have to do. Now she needed to make sure her blade would hum to the melody, and that her target could sing for her. What a performance. Our dear Erica takes her first solo in the art of death, and the sinister swan himself, a true virtuoso of venom. But while the curtains close for now, the story never truly ends, not here. not in Elysia, and certainly not on this broadcast. If your heart still beats and your fangs still thirst, then do stay a while longer. Follow, subscribe, and leave your mark upon the archives. Reviews, my darling, are how we charm the waves and keep the Donna's music playing. And should you wish to join our repertoire, why not sponsor a tale? Slip your name, or your characters, into our ever-growing opera of secrets. We're always looking for new patrons and new conspirators. Until our next performance, my delicious deviants. Keep your blades sharp, your poisons labeled, and remember, never chase the prey. Make it chase you. This has been Vivian Thorne, whispering from the velvet depths of the Adavilios archives. Good night, and don't answer the door, unless you're expecting a courier.